Good evening. Hey, everybody. So, welcome to this week's edition of Purpose for Forever. Technically, the Mister should have been here with me for the intro and then disappeared, but you know how men don't always do right. So, tonight you have, as you can see, just us, just the wives, and we're going to tell you what we think, what we're feeling, and some of the things that are on our minds. So we're going to run our intro and we'll be right back. All right, guys, we are back. All right, so I'm going to introduce the living lives on tonight. First, we have Shanetta McNair.
Hey.
She is the wife of Michael McNair, who hopefully will be in the comments. And then we have Alicia Curvey, and she is the wife of Kaneem Curvey. And we have the wonderful Melissa Pitchford, and her husband is Marcus Pitchford. And of course, I am Samantha Walker, and Anthony Walker, AD, is my husband. So we are on today mainly because the guys were on a couple of weeks. They talked about a few things, had a couple of good tips to share. I was like, well, the ladies, we want to have something to say too. So here we are with something to say. So at any point, if there's something you want to add, a question you want to ask, comment you want to make, of course, you guys know, feel free to jump in. Now, I do have a couple of questions because I like to be so fancy. Um, that things, different things that I saw, um, things that's come across my mind, and I wanted to get you guys' take on it and see, um, what if we were different, similar, whatever, just kind of get a feel for it. So my first question, and it may come out a little hinky, so I might need to elaborate a little bit, is does the current culture affect or has it changed your your attitude about being a wife? And by current culture, I mean like, the things in the news, like everywhere you look, there's a naked woman somewhere. If it's not on social media, you walk down the street, there's bellies and butts and everything everywhere. Does that affect how you feel about being a wife? Does it affect anything about your relationship, or is it just like whatever for you?
I think for me it's kind of like more of a whatever. It doesn't really impact me. I'm I think I'm grateful for not being single in 2022 cuz I feel like they have to get through a whole lot to try to, figure out this relationship thing, and there's a lot to contend with that I just probably wouldn't even be willing. So if I was single in 2022, I'll probably stay single because I probably wouldn't even be trying very hard, which is unfortunate because I would just be like, oh, let me put on my glasses and go mind my business. So but as far as like our married life, nah, nothing, like it doesn't make me view anything differently.
Okay.
I'll piggyback. It's a whatever for me. Butts and bellies and all that's been out. It's been there always. Um, when we were younger to now when we're older. So it doesn't bother me. I'm grateful. Um, I have a husband that loves me, and I know he loves me, and so I'm very grateful.
Yeah.
I would agree. no worry over here. I'm very confident in who I am, what I bring to the table. So what I see, sometimes we'll both comment on it like, ooh, that's something else right there.
Right.
But
Right.
does nothing for me.
Yeah. I think even watching television programs, because you see so much. We were watching an award show last night, and I was like, "Who child?" And I mean, it's just it's like
I know.
they show you everything they got, okay, on TV.
Mhm.
But I mean, yeah, it's kind of really a conversation piece. It's just kind of like, whoa, like, did you see that? And that's, I mean, but nothing that makes me feel like, oh,
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Gotcha. I did see I didn't watch it last night, but I saw like some of the pictures today or whatever I was going through, and one of the pictures she had the whole thing was out, girl, and Lexi was like, "Mom, is it just all out?" And I was like, "Oh," I'm like, "Yeah, it's all out." And I was just like, wow, that's interesting. And it really made me think because okay, so last week or maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, there was some videos, of course, that went viral. One was TD Jakes, and he was talking about how people come dressed to church and how it was not favorable, and he felt like people need to put some clothes on their tail. That was the long and short of it. Not quoting him specifically, but the general theme was they're dressing inappropriately from church. And then there was another female pastor that I guess maybe the same Sunday or a Sunday before, whatever, she had made some of the very same statements. And then I saw, I believe on yesterday, Creflo made statements to the opposite in a way. He was kind of like, we need to stop worrying about what people wear. That's just religion. Let people wear whatever they want. And he's like, I hate religion. And it kind of just made me think, so many times like all of us have been in church, or you go to church and like Shanetta the other night when I was like, "Ooh, your arms are out." If your arms is out, it's something. If your dress don't hang right below your knee, it's something. So I just was wondering, like if it's something that impacts you guys. I mean, for me, I will say, so I don't care. I'm like you, Alicia. We be walking. I be like, "Oh, baby, look, that ain't real." You can see that's not, like. And he was like, really simple. That's not real because you can tell it's a difference. Like we look at stuff, and I was like, oh look, that's an interesting one, but it doesn't really kind of affect me. Like I don't feel any pressure to be trying to
Right.
to do nothing extra, trying to swing from the chandelier. No, I like listen. We've been doing this long enough. Like I don't feel those kind of pressures, but I just wanted to kind of get you guys take on it and see, how you felt about it.
I find it interesting though, like even from the church perspective of the different conversations of well, it doesn't matter what they wear. Y'all need to put some clothes on. You can wear whatever you want to wear. Come as you are. The Lord loves you as you are. Well, y'all not dressing up. Like it's so much back and forth.
Yeah.
Even in the church world about what to wear versus what not to wear. And I definitely think that I really think like some of the outfits and the things that we see like really out and about are not church appropriate. And probably shouldn't even be worn in front of the church building, more or less, inside. Right. However, if you're coming in because you just felt that urge and that pull and that tug, like if the Lord is, drawing you to the church house at that particular moment, who knows if you really have time to go home and change and find something appropriate. Maybe you need to come running in and come running to that altar, at that moment that you feel that tug or that pull. I think it's a fine line that we walk, but like if you're routinely, like I mess with my daughter because of course she's been raised her whole life in church, but I mess with her from time to time and I'm like, them the choices you made? She had got frustrated one morning running late, put on her little cute dress, and it was a really cute dress, you know, not Sunday cute, but you know, it was a cute dress. But she forgot her sweater. And there was no straps on the dress. It was just like one of the little halter dresses. And she came into church, and time she hit the door, if you could just, because you know we got on masks, so if you could just see my eyes watching her walk from the door over to the seat, like I couldn't even take my eyes off her. When she got to me, I said, "So these are the kind of choices we making on a Sunday morning?" And she just laughed, and she was like, "Mommy, I was rushing, and then I realized I left my sweater, and I wasn't going back home. So here I am."
Right here.
I mean, you know, so it just kind of depends on, you know, the situation. But as far as moving the marriage, it, you know, does not make it swing in either direction. It is what it is.
Amen.
I got you. Okay, so my next question is, I'm sorry because I'm gonna lean down. I'm trying to read. I'm an old lady. My eyes don't always cooperate. So it says, have you ever gotten any good marriage advice from an elder, like an older person, that maybe at the time didn't make sense, but later you were like, oh, that she was right? And if so, what was
Yes.
it?
I could say for me, it was picking your battles. I had heard it many times before, like even at work dealing with parents. But as far as my relationship, I felt like if I don't deal with it right now, then, you know, I guess people will forget or it won't get addressed or whatever the case. But I learned over the years and just trial and error that it's best to just let things kind of simmer. And then you'll find if you wait, it's not as urgent or as, you know, as an issue. If you just kind of wait it out, your emotions may get the best of you if you're always battling, but just kind of save it, wait. And then, you know, maybe if it's still an issue, then everybody's able to talk about it.
I like that.
Good. That's good.
Yeah, that is good.
So I'll say for me, I was told never to go to bed angry. And I didn't understand what that meant at the time, but now I do. It's very important to communicate. And so when you go to bed angry and you don't sleep, neither one of you sleep, it just kind of tugs at your spirit. And so it's just better to just talk it out. And, you know, things will be better in the morning. So I took that advice and I ran with it. That's something I still do at this time. And not to say we argue a lot. I could probably count on one hand how many times we argue. But the times that we have, you know, we made it to not to go to bed angry at each other.
Right.
Marcus said, I'll go and talk about that.
I have actually heard both of those as advice from elders and would actually agree with both. Melissa, I am happy for you that you, not happy for you in this sense, but you'll get to, let me fit, when I say what I say, you'll understand a little bit better. I'm glad that like it impacts both of y'all. Like where you can't sleep, he can't sleep. So like you have to settle it. Shy, my husband go right on to sleep.
I second that.
A thing has not occurred
at all.
And I'm sitting there tossing and turning and can't sleep, can't get right, nothing. And I'm like, sir, do you not feel what I feel?
Nope.
You sleeping mighty good for us to not be on good terms. But no, I definitely agree with that. Like if I am feeling unsettled about something, I think we just talked about this, Sam, with the thing at the church. He talking about that.
That's because I'm never wrong.
There you go.
He said that. He said.
He did say that.
You see my husband, right? Oh yeah, we can talk about it in the morning.
We're gonna talk tonight. We gotta talk about this.
I definitely have to agree with you, said Schnutter. Listen, I can't say it don't bother him, but it don't bother his sleep.
Mm-mm.
It don't, and all that. Like somebody told me that too. Don't go to bed. And I used to think that meant we really need to talk like tonight. The only thing was like I realized that my husband's not a night person. So the more I tried to push the conversation,
Mhm.
either he would just say something to be done with it,
Mhm.
and now I done went from angry to
Oh,
Man,
pissed.
Yeah.
Right, like
Yes.
we done shot way past angry now. So yeah, somebody did tell me that, but I realized that really wasn't for me. Sound good though. Like in situations, that at work, it is good advice, but unfortunately, really, you said that's right, Elder. See, Mike, don't start that. Don't start
encouraging it.
messing
Don't
up.
encourage that.
Yes.
Don't start
I
messing up my happy home.
I could say that Kaneem can go to sleep too, but because he knows that I'm still in a space, then we agree to say, can we table this? Like we have to say it. I just can't see him turning over, snoring, and knowing it's tabled.
Oh,
He has to say, can we table this, or are we at a good point with this that we can, continue tomorrow? And to me, that helped me, so I'm not just looking at him staring his back down because he
Right.
over there snoring and we're not
Right.
done. So yeah,
right.
that
He
I
said,
appreciate him doing that.
ain't nobody mad but the
But the
devil.
devil.
Listen, I definitely appreciate that for you. I think that is great. And I will say it's a possibility that Anthony might want to talk about it. Like now he tries, but it still just makes it worse because he's like, okay, I'm up. We're gonna talk. Like in the middle of my sentence though. He's like, all right, I'm listening. Go ahead. I'm like, okay, this not gonna work. Like you're not listening. So I mean, it is a good practice though if it's something that works with you and your mate. But
Yeah.
like clearly he is definitely not a night person. Anytime that he's up and it's late, I always have to comment. Like it literally has to be almost like a party for him to be up late. Like, when we take the trips and everybody's there and we're all talking and whatever, like those times, he'll be up late. But I guarantee you, as soon as we hit that room, he can barely close the door and he's out. So yeah, he's definitely not a night person, but I do think it's good advice. But you just have to figure out what works in your house though.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because sometimes even though something is great advice, it is not good advice for your situation. And being that we are all different, you have to take that into consideration.
Gotta know what works.
He said crash
And,
land.
and you got to be open to the advice too, because you could say nothing works because you don't want it to work or you don't want to try it.
No coffee before the child, Sean. He can finish a 32-ounce cup of coffee and be asleep before he sit the cup down.
Listen, some people that they can sip coffee before they go to sleep.
Right, and it don't
Does nothing.
Yeah. I'm one. Yep.
Yeah.
He said coffee doesn't keep me up or work for me. Yeah, it don't. It's amazing y'all be trying to talk when it's time to go to sleep.
That's
Listen,
when things are settled and you can you setting your thoughts for a while and it's like, okay, let's talk about it now. I have some thoughts.
yeah, he said, yeah, no effect at night. And right, none at night. That coffee ain't nothing more than liquid. It don't mean nothing. Okay, so I got an easy one. So, is there a married couple that you admire? Not that you want to be like, because that's a little creepy. We won't do that. But like, somebody that you admire, or a married couple that inspires you, or something like that.
I have a few.
Okay.
Bishop and First Lady
Okay.
are just the way they just flow together is admirable in and of itself. Like I really like their flow and just how they move and operate together, and they move with a oneness, and you can tell that there's a oneness amongst them. So I definitely love that. I am definitely he in the comments. Mike just said
Really?
the Evans
Ain't
and
that Ascot?
is I guess yeah with all yes.
Oh, okay.
They have like you wouldn't even know that they're old enough to even have been married for over 50 years, but they are. And like it's so beautiful just to watch them. Like they are an amazing couple as well. And just hearing them talk is so funny. Like they are really funny when they talk about their marriage and the experiences that they've had in their marriages over the years. So a lot of mine are honestly in church. Like I've seen a lot of couples within church, and it's just like, I like how they, how they kind of move and operate together, and like you understand their flow, and like you see how they balance each other. You see how they complement each other as far as like, what one is, really good at, gifted at, talented at, and the other one, might be good at something else that kind of really complements the other person.
Okay.
I love that, but I just love to see couples that are happy and like couples that laugh together and just do stuff together. So even when I look at you guys and like I listen to like the stories, and as we're like talking and fellowship, and like I love seeing the other couples, because it's like you get something from each couple, and like you just kind of see the flow of each one, and it's like I like being around couples that are happy together, and like, you can tell that they genuinely like each other,
right?
That they're friends and that they enjoy their time together. It's like they're not annoyed with being around each other. Like, oh Lord, he comes again.
Right. Here he come breathing.
Right. Breathing. So yeah.
Okay, ladies. Anybody else?
I can't say that I have a couple that I admire. I would have liked to even look to my parents, but I've just learned a lot of what not to do, or to set certain boundaries for myself. But I would say I get a lot from different couples that I see things that I like, but the couples that I even thought I would esteem, then there was something that came out. I was like, oh, they just good at putting on a happy couple show. And that just kind of spoiled it for me. So not that there aren't any, and maybe I'll find some. I'm getting to know all you all too. But when I'm talking about older people, older than, because I may be older than all of you guys, but somebody I'm looking to see if there's somebody that I would admire. Because other than that would be Claire and Cliff Huxtable. But then, that's who I was. That's the kind of household I wanted to have. So, but that was it.
No, they ain't beat nobody. Some of that stuff.
Yeah, like they had good talks. Like those talks were really good talks.
Yes, very good.
Some of that stuff required a beating. Like when that girl went all the way to Philly for a concert.
Big fun.
Yeah. And then Theo with them F's in school. No.
Don't get me started on the Cosby Show, because I have DVD collections of the Cosby Show. So.
I love the Cosby Show.
Yeah, I loved it too, but I'm just saying, in the real world, at least once a year, the belt should have came out. At least once a year. Like, yeah. And that Vanessa, she was just so damn fresh. She needed a beat. They didn't marry that senior citizen. No. Okay. Melissa.
So for me, I really don't have a couple that I admire. I too look at married people that look genuinely happy, like you said, Shanetta, that they enjoy being around each other. They, they say that the most people that gossip is a man and a wife. They're the most gossip. So I know me and my husband, we talk the conversations that we have is just bananas. But I just genuinely look at, I think I take a piece of something from the couples that I interact with, and that's to include you all. Um, just me and Marcus became friends first,
Right.
and then we um, became husband and wife. And I think that's very important because people jump in to marriages so soon and for different reasons. And I understand we had kids at a very young age too. But I don't, there's not, I guess I could say there's a couple of older couples on my husband's side of the family that I look up to. When we go to family reunions, it's just good to see them around each other, making each other's plates, and in the age that they are, they still do those things. They still interact with each other. They're not trying to run from each other. It's
Right.
just there's just things that you see from younger couples to older couples that you just kind of hold on to. So I don't have a particular couple, but I do just I'm a people watcher, and I like to look at different things that are happening. Now it could be, sometimes things happen behind closed doors. They can be real happy outside, but when they go home, he getting beat or she getting beat. I wouldn't know that, but I know from the close relationships that I have, I hold on to them having a genuine relationship or friendship first. So,
Man.
I definitely have to agree with you about that gossiping. Listen, me and Anthony, we definitely were friends long before we started dating. We went to high school together, and when you go different places, you just see so much stuff. And so, like, when you get home or in them car rides, it just is so much.
Y'all wait till y'all get home. We text the
Well, you already know I'm texting you in church and everything else. So,
I might just text him like a crying, laughing face, and he already knows.
Yeah,
he already know what it is. Listen, our kids, they be trying to listen so hard in the car. Like, it's gotten so bad. My daughter now, when we go places and she sees something, she just look at me.
And she waiting.
She waiting.
Mom about to say something.
And I was like, what are you looking at? Because I know you gotta say something. She just watched. She's like, I bet you that text is from daddy because I know. So yeah, that is absolutely the best. Like, marriage is great, but it is nothing like really being married to somebody that you like. Like,
Yes.
you genuinely like. It makes all the difference in the world. Because even, I say all the time, even times when I wanted to be angry with him or whatever, like a lot of times it was like, okay, well, fine, I'll do this because we friends, but I don't really like you much. Past that. But it always forced me, to make sure that I did things for him that, most people just didn't understand. Still don't understand when we tell the story. They were like, what? Like, it didn't make sense to other people.
It is supposed to.
Right. I definitely agree. Friendship is absolutely important.
Yeah.
Okay, so my next question, and this should be a good one. Do you find it easier or harder to talk to other married women? He said, you like me. Yes, honey, I like you.
Today, right now.
Right now, I like you. So do you find it easier or harder to talk to other married women?
When you say
I
talk
understand.
about anything particular or like just,
I mean, like, no, just in general. Like, do you find that you have better conversations sometimes with people that's not married, or is it with women that are married, or I don't know. I think my next two questions kind of go together. So that was one of the questions. The other one was like, do you find it hard to kind of fit in with other married women? So I guess that's kind of all like one question. Like, do you find it hard to fit in with other married women? I guess that's the question. Hmm.
I don't now, but I will say there was a time, it was early in our marriage, and I guess I was just so young. I was such a baby. Um, and it seemed like all the people we were around, Lord forgive me, whoever might be listening to this that we might have been around back then, they were old. And there were not people that were my age that were married. It was like I was always around all these old couples. And so I would always be the youngest person in the room. So of course I would sit quietly because it was kind of like a little bit of uncomfort, just discomfort and not being comfortable interacting with other married couples because we were there, but I was the baby of the group pretty much. As time progressed, and I realized that, hey, I'm not the youngest person in the room anymore. It's some younger couples in here. It got a little bit more comfortable. And then to be around couples that are our age, is of course completely comfortable. But when I'm with older people, I like to listen anyway, because I kind of watch and see how you interact and see if there's something I can learn from, what you're doing and who you are. And then when I'm around younger people, I kind of still do the same thing because I'm kind of like interested in, okay, how y'all maintaining, your little young marriage and how's that going? That I might need to learn how to do what you're doing. You young, I might need to keep you fresh. So like teach me something. But yeah, so I just kind of watch and observe. So not really uncomfortable, but just kind of trying to get a feel for. I like being around couples though. I really do, because I think you learn a lot when you're around people like that.
Okay. Alicia, you look like you.
I was just trying to think what to say. I don't know. I don't know that I even sought out couples. I think my circle pretty much remarried around the same time, I guess. We tried to, do things together as couples. So I can't say that I sought it out. I think we just tried to maintain a friendship and then bring the guys into the friendship. But I can say I enjoy the experience that I'm having with this group with Purpose for Forever couples, because it's similar desires. One, to make sure that your marriage, stays fresh up, lasts. We're here to hold each other accountable. So I think to me, it's even more important now that I get a feeling for what it is, what we do for each other as couples, knowing that I can talk to other ladies, and that my husband can do the same. I think it's important, but I know before I wasn't looking for people to kind of be around or, for them to hold me accountable either. But I've had people I can talk to. They may or may not be married, but they have wisdom. And I feel like I let God kind of lead me to who I can talk to if it's something that I feel that I need extra support for. But otherwise, I think my first marriage situation kind of set me up to want to really fight for what I have. So it's great to be around others who are fighting to stay together and enjoy each other's company and liking each other too.
Okay. Mike said it's usually easier with people that you have things in common with, whether it be marriage, occupation, kids, etc. Absolutely. Melissa?
And that's what I was gonna say. It's not hard for me to blend in with other couple married women, I guess. But I'm very particular on the conversations that I engage in. And so, of course, one of the few questions I'm going to ask you is, oh, how long have you been married? Or how many kids do you have? Like, I need to know what the conversation is going to be like for me. So that I can know if this is something that I can engage in, or no, this isn't something I need to be engaged in. But on the flip note of that, you've got young people that are looking to have marriages that we have. We have tenure where we've been with our spouses for 10, 15, 20 years. And so you have couples that have those goals. So I don't mind pouring into, the younger couples. But as far as trying to fit in, I've always kind of been a able body. I've always been to myself. Mark been in the military. I've had opportunity to be with the military wives while the husbands are away, and that was just never something for me. So I just always been an able body. So this group here is pretty much getting me out of my shell. So I'm enjoying getting, being around other couples that have the same interest and have the same goals, or, along the same lines of goals. And we just flow. We flow so well. Like all of us, we all have personality. We love hard. And I just feel protected in this group. I can talk to Shanetta. I can talk to Samantha. I can talk to Alicia. And then for Father's Day, I was going to put a comment that I feel protected by the men, because I know that none of the men are going to let anything happen to me. So I just feel protected in this group that we're in. So I'm very cautious on who I engage conversation with.
Yeah.
Right. Marcus said, yeah, I agree. It's tough to take marriage advice from someone single. Shaking my head, easier to engage with marriage folk. Yeah, I will say, I've never really been the fit in person. I mean, even in school, like I talk to people over here or talk to people over there, but like I never was like the group person.
Mm-hmm.
I was always kind of like, okay, I'll say hi, I'll say whatever, but I spent um and like the last couple of years, sometimes I have to look at myself in the mirror and be like, is this really us? Like, this what we doing? Because this not really what we do. Like, what's going on with us? Like I be talking to myself because this is totally new for me. So I would say for a long time, like I felt like, yeah, I don't want to be around no women. I don't want to, I don't bother with girls. I grew up with a bunch of uncles. I was always a lot rougher, probably than most girls. Like I wore church dresses to church, but kind of like that was it. So for a long time, I definitely felt like I didn't really fit in with women. Like they always, be, I don't know, it just seemed like it was a lot. And as of late, like I really have been able to connect with some pretty cool women. And it's funny, like one of the times we came to your church, Shanetta, I think after service, for whatever happened, like everybody kind of gravitated to wherever I was. So we were like in a car driving home, and Anthony was like, "Baby, look, you got people." And I was like, "What?" He was like, "You got people now," and we laughed. They thought it was so funny, but like that's how I feel. Like I got people, like and it's great to be able to find people. Like sometimes we're like, "Look, I'm done. I'm over it. This is whatever," and to get like an honest kind of feedback, like that's refreshing.
Yeah.
Marriage and just life in general can get difficult. You can have those difficult seasons, them difficult moments. Raising kids ain't no joke. Like I know people like, oh yeah, we do it all the time, but a lot of people do it wrong. So
Yeah.
trying to do it, with some good values and whatever, it's not always easy. So
Yeah.
when you really have people, that you can talk to that are like-minded and really want to see you be successful and happy, it makes all the difference. Because sometimes, people just stick around because they want to see you fall.
Mhm.
They just waiting for it to fall apart. But to have a group of women that that aren't in competition with me, and I don't have to feel like I'm in competition with y'all. Like it's like we all running our own race, but together.
Right.
Like that's a great thing. And so, I would say to anybody, even if you feel like you don't fit in, there is a group somewhere for you. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna tell you is this group because that's not realistic. Like there may be somewhere, that you'll fit in perfectly. Don't give up hope. Don't say it's not for you. There are lots of benefits when you get connected to the right people. Like
Mhm.
it makes a difference in my marriage. It makes a difference with how I deal with my kids. For the
Mhm.
longest, I was struggling with my son in school. Like, I called Alicia, she had some tips. I called Shanetta, she had some tips. And then she even took it a step further and has been working with him online. So like it makes a difference to really
Yeah.
have a community. And like that's how I feel. When something go wrong, I'm like, baby, call somebody. Somebody got an answer.
Mhm.
And sure enough, even though we're a small group still, somebody always has an answer. And
Yeah.
if they don't have an answer, they're like, look, we here. We don't know what we're gonna do, but we got your back. And that makes all the difference. Marcus says, when you know yourself, you'll gravitate to others that are like you. But it makes a huge difference when you know who you are at first.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I would like a lot of people like me. I think it's better that everybody's like different. Like I would say, like we're an interesting melting pot.
You
Like
just know who your people are. You have, yeah, you find your
Yeah.
one
people.
person can only give me business and restaurant advice.
And we have similar traits because everybody says they're kind of to themselves, or like I laughed at Shanetta with having a certain amount of control. I mean, I like to have a certain amount of control, and I liked hearing her say that because inside I was like, me too. I do too. But but I'm not a big giant people person, but I like to, if I'm invited to something, I like to, oblige and see where what I like about the interaction and everything. But my nature is to just me, myself, my family, my husband, I'm good. So these other invites, just kind of open me up to just new experiences, but not all are ones that I would like to continue to do all the time, but I did get to experience it. So
Yeah.
having this kind of homogenous group, it does feel great because groups can turn into something
Yeah.
ugly.
He said not identical traits, but move in the same direction. Absolutely. Well, that is for sure because we all are endeavoring to move into the same direction. Longevity in our
Hmm.
marriages, peace, households, and fun in our lives.
Yeah.
So we definitely all have that in common. I can also say like it does make things easier. He said, wait, he said, wifey wants all the control. Oh, Kadeem, your wife
Nothing
said she
wrong
didn't
with
ask
that.
you.
Somebody of him.
He said, what's the worst marriage advice that you have ever received?
Worst marriage advice.
The worst marriage
Sim-
advice I ever received was let that man be a man, whatever that means.
Yeah.
He
Uh,
said, and y'all have a great sense of humor, according to my wife.
I
But
don't know that I've received what, like I think I tuned out a lot of things. Like if it didn't make sense to me in that moment, I probably just kind of like tuned it out and probably didn't
right.
even remember what they said beyond like 30 seconds past when they said it. Um I don't know, worst marriage advice. Yeah. I think we kind of built our own foundation of what our marriage was too. Like it wasn't like, get this, get that, and kind of like listen to, anybody's prescription of what marriage should be. It was kind of like us feeling our way, through our marriage and kind of building our own what our marriage should look like versus what somebody else. You try to build your marriage into what somebody else's marriage looks like, and it's going to fall every time. It's going to fail every time versus building your own marriage and what works for you. Even when like when people ask that question, like, well, what makes a marriage work? It's different for different people. And it looks different for each couple. Like, this may be successful for you as a couple, but me and my husband can't do that. We're not going to even try that because that's beyond, what we're comfortable with. So what works for you and what works for me might be different. So I don't think I've had worst. I'm trying to think really hard too. Like, what's something crazy that somebody said to me and I was just kind of like, really? And I don't know. Give me a few minutes. I'm gonna come back to that one because now I'm really thinking because I really want to try to remember something.
I'm sure I've heard some things, but nothing that stick with me. I can't think of anything right now.
Nope. Everything I've heard has been pretty sound.
Oh wow! Well, listen, bless your heart. And like I said, I've heard so that whole let that man be a man, or you should just be happy he working, pay the bills. That's enough. I've heard some interesting advice. Oh,
wow.
Yeah. What does that even mean? Let that man
be.
Like, what are we really saying about?
Yeah.
What are we really saying?
Right.
What's the message?
Very questionable.
Or I heard a lot, men just don't talk. Like, stop expecting him to talk. Men don't talk. He not gonna talk. That's not what men do.
No, yeah.
Disagree on that one.
Right.
Yeah.
No.
He talked.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's amazing. He talked to everybody else. How about look you talking? You just put your energy in the wrong place. That's what the problem is.
Right.
You're not talking where it matters. So that's great that you guys haven't gotten any rogue advice.
Probably just put up blockers to whatever it was.
Yeah, that's probably what it is. Probably.
I'm sure somebody has said something that along the way, and it's just kind of like, alrighty, and you don't qualify to sit in that seat of judgment upon my marriage. So
did you say something?
Exactly. I mean, are you married? How long have you had a man? Like, it's probably a lot that. Yeah, I just let it go. Just let it slide.
Yeah.
All right, ladies. So was there any thoughts, anything you guys wanted to say? How does he know? Any points you guys wanted to make? Anything you want to add?
This was really cool just to kind of sit and talk and chat. I like talking to y'all anyway. Y'all cool people.
Ditto.
Yeah, this was good.
Okay, so and as we've all said at least one point in this conversation, we are all very much married. We all very much like our husbands.
Yeah,
not that they're perfect, right. But they're ours. But they're ours. So it's important for us to make sure that we're sharing the narrative that there are good Black men and fathers in their homes with one wife, taking care of their families. Like, it's important for me that narrative is pushed and that we say that, because I can say I have a good husband. He ain't perfect. I ain't even perfect. So, but together we're good. And, and then we're surrounded by other good husbands. And it makes a lot of difference because, sometimes when my husband go a little bit too left, like the guys be like, oh no, that's you this time. Last time it might have been Sam, but no, this time that's all you. And that's important to see other Black men holding each other accountable and making sure, you perfect for me too, baby. making sure that in their communities, in their families, in their circle, they're standing up, and they're being men. And I know it's important for me. I have a son. I like that my son, gets to see, of course, he gets to see his dad, he gets to see other men, standing up. Like we went to a function, my husband couldn't be there, he was doing something else. And I looked, and Marcus was outside playing football with him. And I was like, yes. And then I looked, and Sean was out there doing something else with him. So even though his dad wasn't there at that particular time, there were other men that's like, oh, come on, AJ, let's do this. And, like that meant a lot to me. And I think it's, those things are important. So for our group, for the men that are attached to these lovely ladies on this screen, I want to say thank you guys for being stand-up men. Thank you guys, for handling your business, holding down your household, having these ladies back. It means a lot to us. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. Y'all are like all the brothers that I didn't have. I have one. I got one. I have one. So y'all are like a culmination of some extra brothers. And since I'm so little, everybody's like a big brother because I'm the tiny one. But I want to say thank you guys for your time. Thank you for watching us. Ladies, thank you for your time. Thank you for joining me, your opinions, your words. I so appreciate it. We are on every Monday night at 8 p.m. So we will be back next week at 8 p.m. doing something. So until then, and my partner's not here. It's weird trying to close the show without him. So until then, I can't even say it because I don't have him to say it with me. But we are Purposeful Forever, and we'll be back next Monday. Hold on. Oh.
There he goes.
Hey.
Love unconditionally
and love on purpose.
Me and you together, our purpose for forever. Won't let nothing